She's standing in our living room with 2 suitcases already packed, telling me she's leaving, and the worst part isn't that she's going, it's how she says it, like she's doing something brave, something I should be proud of. She says I'm too safe, says she needs to feel alive again, says she's reconnecting with her high school crush, the one who made her feel like she mattered. My name is Jonah Hale, I'm 36 years old, and this is the moment my marriage ended, not with screaming or crying but with her smiling at me like I was supposed to understand, like I was supposed to nod and wish her well while she walked out of our life together towards some fantasy she'd been nursing for years. She adds, still smiling, that he's always loved her, says it like it's romantic, like it's destiny, and I just stand there watching her rewrite our entire history into something she had to escape from. Within 3 days she's posting photos with him, laughing on beaches I never took her to, hiking trails we never explored together, and her captions talk about finally living, about second chances, about choosing yourself, and her friends flood the comments calling her brave, calling her inspiring, calling her a queen for walking away from what wasn't serving her anymore. Nobody asks how I'm breathing, nobody checks if I'm okay, they just watch her perform this new life like our marriage was a cage she finally broke out of. And I realized sitting there scrolling through her happiness that this didn't start after she left, this started while she was still sleeping beside me, while she was still saying I love you and planning our future, she was already gone and I just didn't know it. I fall apart quietly the way men are supposed to, still go to work, still answer emails, still smile when people ask how I'm doing, but inside I'm trying to figure out when everything stopped being real, when she stopped seeing me as a person and started seeing me as an obstacle between her and the life she wanted. She texts me about paperwork like we're business partners dissolving a failed venture, asks about the car insurance and the Netflix password and when I can sign the divorce papers, no emotion, no acknowledgement of what we're ending, just logistics, and I notice she keeps pushing to finalize everything fast, too fast, like she's afraid I might wake up and ask questions. I start going through our finances because something feels wrong, something in her urgency doesn't match her confidence, and that's when I see it, joint savings drained, accounts moved, money disappearing into places I don't recognize, and when I ask her about it she says her new partner is better with money, says he's helping her get organized, says it like I'm supposed to be grateful she found someone financially literate. Her confidence sounds rehearsed though, sounds like something she's trying to convince herself of more than me, and I realize she's not just leaving, she's running, and whatever she's running toward isn't as solid as she's pretending it is. I start asking questions, quiet questions to mutual friends who knew him in high school, and the truth comes out slowly like water through cracks, failed businesses, debt that follows him between cities, charm that makes people invest but no follow-through that makes them stay. He's lived his entire adult life on potential that never materializes, on dreams that never become real, and my wife who spent 10 years building stability with me just walked away from it toward a man who's never built anything that lasted. I realize sitting there with all this information that she didn't leave for something better, she left for a feeling, for the memory of being 17 and wanted, and feelings don't pay mortgages, feelings don't build futures, feelings just make you forget everything you already have until it's gone. I don't lash out, don't beg, don't post desperate messages or blast her on social media, I call a lawyer instead, not for revenge but to understand my position, to know what I'm dealing with, and the lawyer looks through our documents and says something that changes everything. Says you've been financially protecting her for years without knowing it. Says the way things were structured she thought she had access to everything but legally most of it stays with you. I didn't plan that, didn't structure things that way on purpose, I just handled our finances the way my father taught me, careful, documented, protected, and now that carefulness is the only thing standing between me and complete ruin. The lawyer explains it clearly, major assets were structured under my name for tax and stability reasons, the house, the investments, the savings accounts that mattered, she assumed they were hers by default because we were married, assumed she could take half of everything and start fresh, but she can't, not without my signature, not without cooperation she's not going to get, and I realize her new life, the one she's posting about so confidently, depends entirely on money she no longer has access to. Her tone changes overnight, suddenly she's not the calm enlightened woman choosing herself, she's angry, accusatory, calling me controlling for asking questions I should have asked years ago, saying I'm trying to trap her, saying I'm punishing her for being honest, but I hear the panic underneath the anger, hear her realizing that walking away was easier than staying gone. Months pass, I'm in my office on a normal Tuesday afternoon going through quarterly reports when my assistant knocks and says there's a man here to see me, no appointment, says it's urgent. And when I look up from my desk and see him standing in my doorway, her high school crush, the man she left me for, I feel time stop for just a second. He looks smaller than his photos, older, tired, and he says quietly, almost embarrassed, "I need help," and I realize in that moment that whatever fantasy they built together has completely collapsed. He sits across from my desk sweating through his shirt even though the office is cold, tells me everything is falling apart, lawsuits from previous business partners, debt collectors who won't stop calling, pressure from people I've never heard of, and my wife is furious with him. She thought he had money, thought he had connections, thought he was the successful entrepreneur his social media suggested, but social media isn't real and now she knows it. He looks at me desperately and says he believes I still control her safety net, believes I can fix this for both of them, and I realize sitting there that they forgot something crucial. They forgot that stability isn't magic, it's built, and the person who built it is sitting right in front of him. I tell him calmly, slowly, that the stability he assumed existed ended the day she walked out, that the resources he thought she had access to were never hers, they were mine, built by me, protected by me, and when she chose to leave all of that behind too. And I watch his face change as he understands, watch him realize that the confident woman who left her husband for a better life has no life to offer him, just expectations neither of them can meet. He starts begging, asks for connections, for loans, for time, says he didn't know she was this intense, this demanding, says the woman he fell in love with online was different from the woman sleeping in his apartment screaming about bills, and I realized the fantasy collapsed the moment responsibility showed up, the moment real life required more than nostalgia and attraction. And now they're both drowning in consequences they didn't see coming. That night she calls me for the first time in 4 months, her voice is soft, almost sweet, the way it used to be when we first met. She talks about memories like they're treasures we both lost, says she misses us, misses what we had, doesn't say she misses me specifically, just the idea of us, the safety, the ease, and then she asks, almost casual, if we can meet for coffee, just to talk, just to see each other, and I know what this is. I know desperation when I hear it. We sit across from each other in a coffee shop we used to go to every Sunday, and she looks tired, bitter, smaller somehow, like the confidence she wore when she left has been stripped away, leaving only the fear underneath, and she talks carefully, strategically, subtly blaming me for not warning her about him, for not stopping her, for letting her make this mistake, and then she asks, her voice breaking just a little, if we can fix things, if we can go back. I don't raise my voice, don't get angry, don't perform the hurt I've been carrying for months. I just tell her the truth, tell her she didn't just leave me, she left accountability behind, left consequences, left reality, and now that reality found her anyway. She wants to come back to the shelter she abandoned, but that shelter doesn't exist anymore. I built it for someone who valued it and she proved she never did. And when she realizes I'm serious she shifts, threatens legal action. Says she'll take everything, says I'll regret this. Her threats fail because preparation beats impulse every time, because her rushed choices to finalize the divorce quickly, to separate finances without reading the fine print, to trust a man she barely knew over documents she should have studied, all of those choices tied her completely to his financial chaos while leaving me untouched. And I realize sitting in my lawyer's office reviewing her desperate motions that she made every wrong choice possible because she was chasing a feeling instead of building a future. He loses everything within 6 months, the lawsuits close in, the debts become real, the business ideas that sounded brilliant over wine collapse under basic scrutiny, and she spirals publicly, posts angry rants about betrayal and lies, deletes them hours later, her friends stop commenting, the celebrations of her bravery turn into silence. And I watch from a distance as the life she chose devours the confidence she left me with. She sends me one final message late on a Thursday night, not angry this time, not threatening, just honest in a way that's almost sad. She admits she thought I'd always be there, that I was her backup plan, that she could explore her fantasy knowing I'd catch her if she fell. And I realize reading those words that she never loved stability, she just benefited from it, never valued what we built, just enjoyed standing on top of it. And now that it's gone she finally sees what it was worth. Time passes and my life becomes calm, focused, strong in ways it never was when I was trying to be everything she needed. I didn't win this by revenge, didn't destroy her on purpose. I won by foresight, by building something solid enough that when she walked away it stayed standing. And I realized the best revenge is just refusing to drown for someone who chose to swim away. She chased a memory and lost her future, he chased shortcuts and found consequences. I didn't chase anyone, just stood still while everything they built on fantasy collapsed around them, and people call it revenge, call it karma, call it justice, but I call it something simpler. I call it refusing to save someone who pushed me overboard first. I call it boundaries. I call it knowing that some people will only value you once they lose access to what you provide, and by then it's too late. By then you're already gone, and all they're left with is the fantasy they chose over reality, and fantasies don't keep you warm at night when everything falls apart. Only the people you abandoned could have done that, and those people aren't coming back.